Just made about 4 grand on a trade. I want to show you exactly what I did. So the trade was on the pound yen, and as you can see down here, £4,054 banked. Let's go. In this video, I'm going to share with you a real juicy setup on the pound yen that I'm looking at right now, and there's multiple ways that I can enter this, but what's more important is there's multiple ways that I could look for taking targets on this. So I'm going to break down what I'm looking at, why I'm looking at it, and how I can get involved right now so that you guys can follow along. Let's get stuck in. Something I want to jump straight into is on the pound yen. This is a really nice level that we're at right now, and there's certain clues that the market gives us that allude to a great setup, and it's something that I'm watching, I've got my eye on and looking to get involved in right now. The first thing is on the daily time frame. You can see that we've had these big rejection candles up here where the bulls have tried to push up, the bears have rejected each time, and whenever we see that, we know that there's protection at that zone. Right now we are pushing straight back into that zone. It's looking like, whenever we've pushed into that, we've had this big strong bullish momentum. We had the big strong bullish momentum here, and we've got strong bullish momentum pushing into it right now. Now if we drop down to the 4 hour and you start to refine where the kind of potency is of this zone, it's really between this high, right, where we had these rejections here. So let me just draw this out so you can clearly see what I'm talking about here. But you had this rejection here, you had this rejection here, right? You had this, all the closes below this zone, and then also you had this double top up here as well, which we were looking at previously. And that is, a nice, powerful protection zone where there's a strong level of resistance. What does that mean? Well, it means that if we rally into that zone again, depending on how we move into that zone, and what I mean is I'm looking for specific strong bullish momentum. Look at this, straight rocketing into that zone there. Price action has just pushed straight up there without any retracements, any pullbacks, any corrections. It's just bullish momentum straight into that zone. And whenever we see that, what I'm looking for is I'm looking left, because structure leaves clues, and then I'm looking for how price reacts into that zone. Because whenever we know that bullish momentum doesn't go on forever. 2, how price reacts when it reaches that zone following that big bullish momentum can give us some really clear indications of what's likely to happen next. And what I mean by that is I'm looking for deceleration. I'm looking for the market the price action to start running out of steam. And there's two things that I look at for that. The first one is the RSI. So really quick at a glance, I can see that the RSI is already conventionally overbought at 75. Conventionally, it's overbought or considered overbought at 70. I have my extreme filter set to 80 because I like to use it as an extreme filter only. I don't necessarily trade off of RSI in the Forex market, but I do like to have it as a extreme filter that can add confluence and confidence to my case for entry into a trade. So that's already looking good. And the second thing I look for is the deceleration of price. So as we've pushed up into this zone, you can see had a big strong bullish candle, then a smaller candle, then a smaller candle, and we're struggling, right? Market's struggling. It's running out of steam. It's losing strength in its momentum. The momentum's slowing down as we approach this zone. Does that make sense to everyone? So we drop down to the 60. Look at that. Right, now we've got this, ascending channel kind of thing going on, right? Where the market's just really curving off into that zone. Amazing. Now when you look at the RSI here, we are tipping 80. We're at 79.6. So what does that mean? Well, look, let's tighten this up even more. We're in this zone. We're right in the middle of it, which is great, because obviously we want to get our stop ideally above the high of this zone. So all I need to look for now is a retest, okay? And I can actually drop down to the 15-minute time frame to get that, if I don't want to wait for the hourly. But ultimately what I'm looking for is a little V-top like this where the second test needs to test the high of the initial test once we're overbought. And then as long as we don't close above the high of the initial test, but we test the high, i.e. at the moment this blue zone here, then I can enter next bar market. And what that means is as soon as that candle closes that meets that second rule, then I can just enter. I can sell at market, get my orders in. And the beautiful thing about this is the target taking. Look at this, right? Your target taking. I don't want to fight below here. Okay? Why don't I want to fight below here? Because this had significance looking left. You also had this rejection here. It was also this support level. It was also respected here when we had this push down. It also started to decelerate here before we saw the momentum, right? So look at that. If I just show you. So just to show you guys the way that I'm looking at this structure zone, we had support at this level, right? We had rejection at that level, okay? We also had rejection in the form of this big bearish move, and then we closed above it here, okay? So that gives me a clue that there's some protection there as well. And then as we pushed back up, we saw this deceleration here before we saw the bullish momentum break out of that. And whenever we see these big bullish moves, it means that the bulls are really trying hard to break above a certain level, which in this case is this level here at 213.50, say, or 213.47. Let's just say 213.50, right? So if I'm looking to short this now, and I'm looking to, get in somewhere here, stops tight above this high or above the high of the double top, I don't want to fight beyond this. I'm happy on a structure-based short, a counter move to not be greedy, but a 2-to-1, I'll take that all day long. Make sense? Now, this is a perfect opportunity, though, to split your position in half, or take off 70% of your position here and then trail another 30% of the position, right? Because there is a very strong chance, because we don't have too much inside structure here, that the market could continue down, and roll over. So we could actually look for secondary targets, which you may just trail stops, or you might just have a fix, roll stops to break even and then just let this thing run. But, same thing applies. You're looking for that next inside structure level that's going to cause some problems, and set your target there. Or if you're trailing stops, you just keep trailing until you get stopped out. The benefit of that approach is you could potentially earn way more. You could capture the whole trend reversal if we reverse. And the downside to it is obviously, one, you've got to be at the market charts all the time. And two, you might not get, you might not work out for you. So that is what I'm looking at on the pound yen. This is one of the juiciest setups of the week so far. So we'll keep our eyes on this, and I'll keep you guys posted. So one last way that you might enter this is if you trade pattern setups, right? Ratio patterns. If you go XA, you see we don't hit the 50% here. You could check the data. We don't hit the 50% here, but if this is your B leg, this does. And then we've got the 382 retracement for the C leg. And then you've got the completion point up at the 886. So you're actually getting a better entry right now. Because if you enter now, if you're able to trade this as a bat pattern on the pound yen 4 hour, then you could get in now with great reward to risk profiles. It just changes the dynamics of the setup a little bit. Because if you're trading it as a bat pattern, now all of a sudden what you're doing is your targets are going to be at the 382 for sure. So you're going to get in, let's just say you get in at market, and we get our targets down here at 212.82, and then your stop loss will be a 113 inversion, because now you don't have to wait for the double top. You can just get in, right? 113 inversion from A to X back down, and your stop loss is going to be at 215.52, just above that, 215.55, just above the 250 level, which is great, right? And now, very, very attractive reward to risk profile, over a 2-to-1, and you don't have to wait for at market orders. So you'll get your order in at market, which currently is 214.72. Stop loss is a 113 inversion above X to A, which is at 215.55. Love to get above those 50 levels. And then the target, interestingly, the 382 target, best case scenario, is right just above that inside, that B leg, and above this inside structure level here, right? So looking left. Okay, so you can see I'm now in this trade as a bat pattern, right? So I've placed my orders. I put a sell at market sell order in because I'm placing it live at market. Just for clarification, the stop loss that I'm using in this case, the type of order that would be a buy stop order, because that's above the price we're currently trading, and I want to, buy my position back at that price point, knowing that I'd be wrong. And then my profit target order is a buy limit order. So I'm buying back lower than we're currently trading at a profit. So that's it. All I'll need to do now is I'll need to adjust my target position with price. If we push up further than my entry, I'll just need to tweak the 382 retracement. So we're looking for that. We're always looking for the 382 retracement. So as we push up, I'm just going to have to adjust the target with price plus front running a little bit, which I don't need to do at the moment because we haven't. But that's what I'll be doing. And just before you go, if you're interested in these bat patterns, I did do a video which you can go and watch right here on how to trade these things. I give you the printout, all of the rules of engagement. And the reason I want to mention that is because if you drop down to the 60 now on the euro dollar, there is another one. So those of you who are familiar with bat patterns, I'm just going to add a couple of alerts on here so that I can get notified if price pushes up towards the completion of this pattern. But you could again go ahead and you could get limit orders on for this right now so that it's set and forget. And if you want to find out how to do that, you can go and watch the video that I did previously. So I'm in this now. If this plays out, I stand to make just under 5 grand. With yesterday's FTBs, actually, that will put me up almost around the 10k mark for the week, and we're only on Wednesday, so that's pretty good. So yeah, I won't update you on this. I'll just let you guys go and follow along. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more like this or what you want to see more of, and I'll see you guys in the next one.